Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tips. My name is Julian, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the NHL's newest team, the Seattle Kraken. We're going to be talking about their individual players and if I think they have fantasy value, if I think you should draft them in your upcoming fantasy drafts. Before we get started, guys, please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs this year, so every subscription really helps. Thanks so much, guys. So without further ado, let's take a look at what Seattle's lines are shaping up to look like. On the top line, you got Schwartz, McCann, and Eberle. On that second line, you have Järnkrok, Wennberg, and Appleton. On that third line, you have Donato, Geekie, and Donskoi. On defense, you got Dunn, Larsson, Giordano, Alexiak, Susi, and Fleury. And in nets, you have Grubauer and Driedger. So the player who's going the earliest in drafts for Seattle is Philipp Grubauer, their goaltender. And do I like drafting Philipp Grubauer where he's going at 68.3? No, I don't. He's the 14th goalie coming off the board in the majority of drafts, and he's being drafted really early. The Seattle Kraken are not a great team. Yeah, they're in a pretty bad division, so they might win a lot more games than they would in any other division, but they're still not that good of a team. And Grubauer is also going to be in a time split with Chris Driedger, so Grubauer may only get 60% of the starts, which is still decent, but it's not that great. And his stats last year, yeah, they were amazing. The dude got 7 shutouts, but that was with Colorado. So don't expect that kind of crazy save percentage, those kind of crazy amount of wins and shutouts this year, because it's not going to happen. That's why I'm not so crazy about him where he's ranked. And that's why I'd rather go with a guy like Jari or Markstrom, who are being drafted way later in the draft and are much better value for where you're going to be picking them. The next guy being drafted is Mark Giordano at 142.8 ADP. Last year, he wasn't utilized on Calgary's top power play, so he was only getting about a point every 2 games, which is still pretty good considering he didn't get top power play time. He shot the puck a lot, he blocked some shots, so that's what he's going to be useful for this year. He's useful for those peripherals. He's also going to have a huge amount of value if he does end up getting that top power play spot in Seattle. I'm not convinced yet that he will get that top power play spot, though. I think the next guy on this list is going to get that spot, and that's why I have Vince Dunn ranked higher than I do Mark Giordano. Vince Dunn, I think, is going to get that top power play spot. Last year had 20 points in 43 games playing on St. Louis's second power play, and if he does get that top slot, the dude's super talented. He could potentially have a 40, 45, maybe even 50-point season. I doubt that latter one, but I think he could have a very strong season. The problem is, I don't know who's actually going to get top power play, who's actually going to get second power play. So we're going to have to wait and see. But if Dunn does get that top power play, he definitely has a lot of value where he's currently being drafted, and I like him a lot this year. All right, so next are Schwartz, Jordan Eberle, and Jared McCann, which is the entirety of Seattle's top line. They're all being drafted pretty late in the draft. Like, they're all going towards the end of the draft. Do I hate drafting any of these guys? No, I don't. They're the top line on a team, and they're also going to get top power play. So they actually may have a lot more value than people are giving them credit for. I'm not super high on them because I don't know how they're going to perform, right? They're a brand new team. We don't really have a lot to base this off of, but Vegas performed pretty well on their first season, so it's possible that this top line looks pretty good. If I were to choose one guy from this top line, I would probably go with Eberle, just because he shoots more than the other 2 guys, so he has a safer floor. But honestly, any of these guys could be a real value pick towards the end of the draft. I don't mind any of these guys. Next is Chris Driedger, and I'm not sure why he's being drafted around 170. Yeah, it's pretty late in the draft, but he's being drafted in 22% of leagues. Yeah, he was good last year, but he was kind of Florida starter at one point, right? I don't think this year he sees more than 30, maybe 40% of the starts, maybe more if Grubauer struggles, but Seattle won't be that great of a team either. At Driedger's ADP, I'll take Cal Peterson instead. They're going at pretty much the same ADP. And yeah, LA's not a great team, but at least Cal Peterson could see like 75% of the starts. I'd much rather that. Next is Yanni Gourde, and he's going to miss the month of October in terms of fantasy. So he's not missing that much time. He's missing 2-3 weeks of fantasy. After that, he should be back in November. So he's not missing too much time. When he comes back, he could slot in on that top line alongside Schwartz and Eberle. If he does, he has some value. even if he slots in on the second line, he has some value because I think he will end up seeing top power play time. So if you want to draft him and stash him on your IR, I don't mind doing that because Gourde is quite a talented player. It could potentially be Seattle's best player. Next is Brandon Tanev, and he was actually at a point every 2-game pace last year. But if you're drafting Brandon Tanev, you're not drafting him for points. Pay close attention, guys. Only draft Brandon Tanev if you are in a league where hits have value. If you're in a league where hits have no value, Brandon Tanev has no value. He's not going to get a lot of points this year. But last year, when he was injured, he led the league in hits. He ended up 20th in the league in hits despite missing 24 games last year. So that's pretty freaking good. The dude, if he stays healthy, is going to lead the league probably in hits, at least top 3. So if you need hits, he's a guy to grab. Otherwise, stay far away from him. Next is Adam Larsson, and last year he was very valuable as a non-scoring defenseman for his peripherals. He had the second most block shots out of anyone in the entire league, and he hit a very good amount as well. So if you need those categories, Larsson may be a decent late round pick. Otherwise, if you don't play with hits, I'm not super high on Larsson either. Same kind of thing as Tanev. If you're not in a hitting league, Larsson could still have a tiny bit of value for his block shots. But honestly, I'm staying away from him unless you need both block shots and hits. And last but not least, guys, is Jonas Donskoi. Right now, he's playing on the third line, so I'm not super high on him, but there's a chance that he gets that top power play since he excelled there last year on Colorado. I mean, even if he does, though, don't expect the same kind of production. There's no McCann, there's no Rantanen on Seattle's top power play, so even if he does get that top power play spot, right now, I'm not drafting him. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I hope you enjoyed the content, guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.